Hello everyone, Madelon Guinazzo here, co-founder and director of training for Cuddlist. And I want to talk about something that came up in a radio interview the other day. I was interviewing with a radio station in Cincinnati, and we had a great interview. It was wonderful. They were very open. We laughed a lot. We talked a lot about sessions and what happens in sessions. And at the very end, they asked a question about do some people meet this way? Do some people start dating this way? Kind of like, and I heard this like, is this another way to hook up or meet people? And I said, oh no. And it brought up this big caution for me, and I want to talk about it. It's very important that the professional dynamic between a client and a practitioner be respected and maintained. And that's because really the efficacy of a session, what's available for a client, so much of it is shaped by what we call the container. The container, which are the boundaries and the guidelines and the rules. It's the code of conduct and following that. It's the opening agreement. It's the payment of money. It's the specification of time. These are things that really define it as a service. This is a service role. And it's new, so that's kind of confusing. And it's exciting, too, that we're creating something entirely new. We're not therapists. We're not massage therapists. We're not talk therapists or massage therapists. But it has a lot of those sorts of qualities. But it's somewhere in between that. And it is not a friendship. I would say probably the closest thing it's to is like personal coaching, is something like that. But the whole thing is defined by the fact that it's for the client. It's really for the self-care of the client and to learn for them to be more in touch with themselves, to be calmer in their body, to be relaxed, to have a sounding board, to have a listener, to have a space where they can learn to communicate what they want and practice consent and those skills around touch and new ways of being, to be vulnerable and open and intimate, and to have, a playmate, somebody to practice these things with. It can be tempting to take that out of the professional into the personal. And I will say I and other practitioners have learned the truth of the importance of this by falling and scraping our knees sometimes. When we take it outside of that container, it becomes a completely different thing. And we have, that's wonderful. We all have ways to practice that with the family and the friends and all the personal and partners and lovers and all those relationships in our lives. But keeping the two separate, it can be tempting to think that, I'm having this wonderful experience with this person and it's because they're a wonderful person. And if I took it out of the professional, then we'd live happily ever after. Right? And sometimes that when we take it out of that container, we realize, this is just as complicated and messy as all the other relationships in my life, which is to be expected, right? And the other side of this is there's such a freedom and beauty in being able to open up with somebody who's not a mother or a parent or a sibling or a friend who has all these expectations and mutual needs from us. And I hate to think that we would lose some of that by taking it into the personal. We all deserve a space like that where there's somebody who's there just to support us and be a cheerleader, and that we express our gratitude for that and the value of it with money. That's a beautiful thing. So those are my thoughts about it. I wanted to share and say a little deeper because I just had a few moments in that interview to say no. Practitioners are very ethical about upholding that boundary with our clients, and we do it for their benefit, for everybody's. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful day.